Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Analytical Amateurs, the show where a bunch of unprofessionals pretend to be professional. I'm Alcatabra. I am here with Triple M. Say hello.
Hey. Hello.
And today we are talking about The Mandalorian, everyone's favorite show, apparently. So, yeah. There's not really much intro that needs to be done. I think everybody knows what this show's all about. This is a pretty recent show that's been all the buzz on the streaming services or whatever. And I guess we have some words, or at least I do. I don't know what's going on in Triple M's head. But yeah, we're going to just deconstruct The Mandalorian. And this is a boring intro. Okay, let's go. Season 1 of The Mandalorian. Let's start. Where do we begin?
It's okay.
I guess that's it in a nutshell. But yeah, what I want to say
Both
for The Mandalorian...
Both seasons are okay, but I like season 1 more.
Mm-hmm. What I want to say, right off the bat, I guess we should give some context on our approach to Star Wars, because obviously Star Wars is, or was, the biggest movie franchise in the world. It's a pretty big deal to a lot of people, and I think that The Mandalorian was a big drawn point for the Star Wars fan base, if that's even a thing anymore. But yeah, I was intrigued because, I have complaints with how Star Wars has been handled in recent times, with how everything's just been nostalgia bait. It's basically just been softcore remakes of everything we've seen before. The Force Awakens, for example, is very evidently just A New Hope again. The Last Jedi and even The Rise of Skywalker have some elements of the old movies as well. So when I heard about this show, I was intrigued because, I'd like to get something outside of just the adventures of the Skywalker bloodline for once. And yeah, I think that it's actually very interesting to get a mainline series that's getting a lot of attention and marketing that's set outside of the main core story of Star Wars.
Well, it was.
We'll get to that. We're gonna get to that with season 2. I have some words, trust me. But yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. I was really burned out on Star Wars. I hate the fan base. I'm so tired of it. And then, this show got announced, and I was like, what the fuck ever. But then I watched episode 1 purely because it was on, and I was like, okay, damn. It's kind of like it's a Star Wars spaghetti western. I fucks with it. And I really enjoyed episode 1, so much that I watched it like 4 times in the week that it came out. I really enjoyed the vibe, and then the rest happened. And just like every episode that they put out, it kind of went down for me. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, that's the thing, because apparently this show is sort of like built up as a Western in Star Wars, like a sort of classic, like people behind the scenes have described it as a classic Western adventure, which I'm cool with that as an aesthetic, but it seems to be an excuse for the fact that this show has some weird pacing, as in there really is none, especially in season 1.
There is no pacing.
It's kind of just an anthology series, except anthology, or not anthology, episodic, I think is a word to better use it, like, kind of...
Anthology, it's like, okay, I don't know. Season 1 is like, the plot shows up in episode 7. 8 episodes in a series, and the plot shows up in episode 7. It's like, I don't know. But I liked that. I don't know why I liked it. I didn't like that in season 2, but I liked it in season 1. And I'll get into why I didn't like it in season 2. I don't know. I think season 1 had a lot going for it. I think they didn't lean too heavily into that stupid little green shit. I think that
we'll get to
there was a nice balance of Baby Yorga. You didn't have too much Baby Yorga. Baby Gorgu. Gorgu goo goo ba. And then it's and like, obviously it wasn't anything special. It's Star Wars. But it was a nice change of pace. I like that the digital framing technology they use for the sets is really, really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely something big I wanted to touch on, aesthetic. This definitely feels like a very unique series in how it handles aesthetic. Because, aesthetic in like in the previous films was very bleh, everything was either just a knockoff of something we'd seen before or not really inspired, I think, outside of a few key shots. But like here, the aesthetic's very strong. All the planets feel very unique. They feel clustered. You see different aliens and stuff because, you know, in the new movies, all you're seeing is humans. Now you're actually seeing other aliens throughout the Star Wars universe. They even integrate some like nostalgic callbacks that don't feel like forced. Like when you see that little rat thing that was in Jabba's palace being cooked in a marketplace, you're like, okay, that's a reference, but that feels like something that would happen in this world.
Hugo, please. His name is Salacious Crumb.
Oh, sorry. Salacious Crumb. But yeah, you see Salacious Crumb.
You're a real Star Wars fan.
I'm sorry. I'm not a true fan. I don't know it all, but yeah. But yeah, stuff like that. I think that really had really good set design and all that, and just world building.
I think that the worst part of season 1 was when they tried to... Well, okay. The biggest mistake that they made in season 1 was hiring Dave Filoni to write a fucking episode.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my God. That guy can't write. I know everybody likes to suck his dick and call him the savior of Star Wars, and oh, my God, it's so great. He saved Clone Wars. But oh, my God, that motherfucker can't write.
Yeah, I love Dave, but, like, we gotta talk, bro.
Episode 5, the one that he wrote, is horrendous. It introduced so many awful characters.
Oh, my goodness.
That one young bounty hunter, terrible. That one lady with the afro who kept showing up for some reason, awful. And it's like, oh my God, look, they're back on Tatooine. You guys remember Tatooine?
That felt really like forced. Like you got like Tusken Raiders showing up and stuff.
Like, oh my God, do you remember Tatooine? Yeah, I remember Tatooine. I clapped because I remember Tatooine.
I'm like, this really didn't have to be on Tatooine. Like the episode with the season 2 start episode, the pilot episode of season 2 worked with Tatooine, and I thought they used it well. But this season, I'm like, really? It could have been anywhere. But
yeah, it could have been any fucking desert planet. There's like 8 in Star Wars.
For real.
But it's like, it reminds me of that Red Letter Media sketch where it's just the entire episode is like, I applauded it. I applauded it for being different and showing me things that I know. It's like that whole episode was just so ugh. And then it killed. The moment that I completely gave up on that episode is when Mando says she has the high ground, and I was like, oh,
I forgot that was in that episode. That makes so much more sense.
I'm like, oh, so we're just including lines of dialogue to make all the fucking Redditors happy, right?
I'm like,
that episode was, before season 2 came out, that was like the worst thing in The Mandalorian for me because it felt so pandering. All the other episodes were like, we're going to tell a unique story that we want to tell, and then episode 5 was just like, hey, we gotta show the fans what they know.
I think that was the episode that they teased his return as well.
Yeah, that's the first time you see his feet, and goddamn, he's got some nice feet.
Oh boy. Okay. Anyways,
got some spurs on his boots.
Other than that, I already talked about the world design and everything. Another thing I like is that it has. The weird thing is, this show has good world building, but in the wrong places. Because this show actually addresses the state of the galaxy and like politics and stuff, like the aftermath of Return of the Jedi, which was a really
but it doesn't do it like in the prequels.
Yeah, it was a major question.
There are no Senate debates.
No Senate debates.
It's just like, what's going on? But it's not like okay, let's figure out what the politics are. That I'm glad it didn't do that.
Yeah, surprisingly, this is just never brought up in the sequel movies, despite that being an insanely big detail, but I will save my rants because I have a whole video I'm working on for that. I'll save my rants for that. Point is, this actually addresses the state of the galaxy and the world and everything. Like, it brings into question the morality of the New Republic that was set up after Return of the Jedi. It humanizes the Empire and actually explores the effects the Empire had, because there are still stormtroopers and Imperial officers in this show, but they do a good reason for justifying it. Instead of just being like, oh, remember stormtroopers? Like, they actually have a reason for why they'd still be around in this time period, and they actually give reason for why people would still support that cause. And I really like that. I really like that a character like Cara Dune, like, they made it so Cara Dune is a rebel officer who was from Alderaan, and that was actually a good way to again incorporate fan servicey content. I think. What, you don't agree?
No.
You don't like that?
No.
Please do tell.
Like Cara Dune.
Oh, the character?
As of right now, she's my least favorite Star Wars character.
Yeah, we'll get back to her because I want to do a whole character segment. But my point is that I think that this has some really good world building for the Star Wars galaxy to explain things. However, it didn't have the show itself didn't have good world building for its own story, oddly enough. There's a lot of stuff that's just kind of left unexplored. Most notably, a lot of people came out of the show not understanding what the Mandalorian culture even is because they don't really explain it.
Yeah, because they introduced like 3 different fucking types of culture. It's like
and it's like they don't really explore any of it. Like, I mean, I know because I wasted my life watching Clone Wars. That's a joke. I like Clone Wars, but like they don't really like explore. Yeah, like. That's why, because a lot of people, I remember when the show was announced, a lot of people were like, what's a Mandalorian? Is that like Boba Fett? Because they don't really explore this stuff in the mainline continuity, and they don't bother really explaining it in the show.
They talk about it a bit more in Season 2, but really only specifically with a couple of characters, not the religion as a whole.
Yeah, they only bring up like the Great Purge and some flashbacks with Mando, but then they don't really explain like what the dark saber means, like what Mandalore really is. Like who these other Mandalorians are, they don't really go into that, and I feel like they should have, considering the title of the show. But
Saber, we can put that up till Season 2. But I agree. I would have liked to know more about this, overzealous underground community of extremists. Where the fuck did they go? Where did they go?
I mean, most of them are dead, but we don't know. They said like some escaped, so who knows? Point is, we should probably talk about the namesake character himself, Mando / the Mandalorian, which, why is he called that? Like, there's a whole culture of Mandalorians, and they just call him Mandalorian? Like, that would be like... that would be like a...
show. I don't know.
That would be like an assassin just calling themselves, like, the black dude or something. I don't know, that just feels kind of weird to me. Like, why would you just name yourself after the culture?
Because
like,
nobody knows his name.
That's true. I mean, he couldn't come up with, like, a nickname or something? I don't know.
I mean, we know his name, and a few people know his name, but you're not supposed to, I guess. That's why they call him that.
Okay.
I guess Mando is like a slur to them.
Maybe.
It's like their N-word.
They just call themselves the Mando. I mean, since he's okay with everybody saying it, I guess he doesn't mind. Maybe they all have a pass or something. I don't know. Point is, but Mando is a character.
I don't know. He's an interesting character. He doesn't have much to do.
That's the thing I want to get into.
When he does do things, he does it well.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting like my point. My point is, when Mando actually does something, it's cool, but he doesn't really do much.
There's not much. Like, I wish I could know a little bit more about his upbringing and what he was like before, and why he. Well, I know why he's so indebted to this cause, but I don't know. He a bit underdeveloped because like we meet him in episode 1. He's pretty static, and then he meets the kid, and then boom, the plot starts, and then it's all Baby Yoda from there.
Yeah, like what we get is that like he was obviously found and taken into the culture, and that's why he mentions like at one point he wants them to save some Beskar for Foundlings, so we know that he definitely cares about the youth of the Mandalorian culture, and that could also be why he cares about Baby Yoda. Why are we still calling Baby Yoda? We know his name
because we called him that for a year and a half, and it is ingrained into our minds.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to think of an accurate representation. I can't.
I don't think
like an accurate allegory to draw, but like we called him that for so long.
I guess it's like how people calling him. That's like how people call all bandages like Band-Aids, even though that's a brand. It's just
calling him anything else from here on out would just feel weird, and eventually we'll start calling him Gorgu Gonads.
Yeah,
but for now, he's still Baby Yoda.
But yeah, okay. Back to my point. My point is that he obviously cares about Foundlings, so that could explain why he wants to take in Baby Yoda / Grogu / whatever. And we also know that he like hates droids. I guess because like droids attacked his like village. That makes sense.
Yeah, fuck. He's
but
droid
then
racist.
They never really go in depth with any of that stuff. Like his whole droid discrimination
droid
thing.
Racist.
He just we'd have a handful of scenes where he's like, I don't want to work with droids. Then at the end, he like is mean to IG-88, but then he just kind of gets over it. Like, and then IG-88 sacrifices himself, and he's like, eh.
You're droid racist.
Well, damn.
It's not IG-88. It's IG-11. Voiced by Taika
did I say
Waititi.
IG-88? I'm sorry. I don't know who I'm thinking of.
You did.
IG-11
is a cold, unemotional bastard. IG-11 is the best nanny in the world.
Yes.
Together you go. First Salacious Crumb and now this.
Damn, I'm sorry. I'm not
Next
in
you're
the
going to
Star
call Rey a
Wars.
Skywalker or something.
I'm sorry. I'm not in the Star Wars culture as much. I'm ashamed. But anyways.
Neither am I. I'm just, my best friend is so into it that if I did something like that, I'd get some heat.
Dang.
So I've adopted some ways.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, my point is, he doesn't really he just gets over his whole anti-droid thing out of nowhere. Like even by season 2, when he goes back to Tatooine and the droids are going to work on the ship, that lady is like, no, he said no droids, but he's like, just let them work on it. And I'm like, really? He's just over that? Just like that?
Yeah.
But yeah,
you could tell they didn't really care about that one little subplot. They were going to get rid of that as fast as humanly possible. They planned for that.
Other than that, him as a character, I will say he's cool. Like, oddly enough, despite the fact that he never shows his face and is barely emotes, he's infinitely more interesting than anyone in the new films. But even that being said, I guess what we like really about him is his mystery, because he doesn't really have that much of an initiative. Like, he just cares about Baby Yoda, and and he like does bounty stuff, and he's cool. And I really can't describe him beyond that, honestly.
I will say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will say one thing, and that thing is that Pedro Pascal is hot as fuck.
Okay.
I am a huge fan of Pedro Pascal, and this year feels like a big Pedro Pascal year. He's been like last year, I guess 2020. He was in that crappy Netflix movie. He was in Wonder Woman. He was in Mando, and I was introduced to him through Game of Thrones, and he was fantastic on Game of Thrones. So it's nice to see him finally getting the love that he deserves. I remember once on the final episode when his face was revealed for the first time, one of my friends texted me, and she was like, "Oh my God, he's ugly under the mask," and I was like, "You can get the fuck out of here." Pedro Pascal is hot as fuck, and he's covered in sweat and blood, and he's not supposed to look hot. So get your unrealistic standards out of here.
Nice. That being said, he does have a shred of characterization, like new characterization in season 2, when he meets up with Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians, and he's surprised to see that they're...
Pronounce that?
Is her name not Bo-Katan? I thought that's what they said.
I've heard it pronounced both ways. It's like Rachel Raj Al Ghul. I've never... No,
some people say Bo-Katan, some people say Bo-Katan. I just go Bo-Katan because I think that's
text my Star Wars friend and I'll ask him.
Okay. Point is, when he meets up with them, like, he's surprised they take off their helmets and everything, and they're all like, "Oh, you're a part of the Watch. They're a bunch of zealots," and he's not really sure to respond to that. So you have him like somewhat questioning his ways, and that comes up again with his old friend, whose name I'll remember soon. Mayfield. That's his name. Mayfeld. Yes, Mayfeld. Mayfeld questions
getting it
him.
wrong, Hugo.
Is it Mayfeld? Okay, Mayfeld. Questions like
played hilariously by Bill Burr.
Yes, like questions how he wants to, how he doesn't want to take off his helmet, and his way of like fighting against stormtroopers and everything, and it starts to make him question his beliefs again, to the point that at the end, while they don't really address it, he has no problem taking off his helmet to say goodbye to Grogu, and also in front of like Bo-Katan, Cara Dune, and all them. So we can see that he seemingly doesn't really care about that zealous culture anymore. But they don't really explore it that much. So maybe that's a turning point. Maybe they'll go into that in season 3, like have him question his place in the Mandalorian culture and everything. But who knows? If anything, I hope they do, because I mean, we might as well get a character arc. It's been 2 whole seasons. But yeah, other than him,
fuck that. It's Star Wars. You don't get none of that. None of that fucking character arc shit.
Other than that, there's another character we should touch on since we've been referencing him a lot. Baby Yoda / Grogu. I don't really like Grogu. I think he's adorable.
Okay with his presence until season 2.
Yeah,
I put up with him until season 2.
That's how I feel. Like, he's adorable. He's there to do cute things that mean literally nothing for the plot.
He is there to do the same thing that George Lucas wanted to do with the original Star Wars movies. He's there to sell.
Money.
He is their money maker. You
Like,
cannot go into a goddamn store without seeing some stupid
for real.
piece of, hey, you want a
Everywhere.
baby? You want a Baby Yoda phone? You want
Baby
a Baby
Yoda
Yoda pop
plushies.
bucket? You want a Baby Yoda plushie?
Baby
You want a
Yoda
Baby Yoda
Funko
cod?
Pop.
You want a Baby Yoda flip flop? Anything you want. It's got Baby Yoda on it. I am tired of it.
Good lord. That's pretty much what he is. I guess a lot of people say he's there for the quote normies, like the people who don't really care about Star Wars lore. They just need something to watch. So he's there for them to go like aw at and make cute compilations. Yes.
He is the most popular character in Star Wars. This is
pretty
not
much.
And I'm not being hyperbolic. They did a study. He replaced Darth Vader.
God damn. That I don't like that. How can
Baby
you
Yoda
replace
is number
Vader?
1. Din Djarin is number 2.
Ooh.
And Vader is 3.
How? Okay.
It's not even his franchise anymore.
I'm not even.
It's not even Anakin's franchise anymore. It's all Yorka. RB Gorga. RB Boo. It's just like I don't get it. The entire the first season, we were kind of led to believe that he is discovering what the Force is, that he's like kind of unaware what's going on, and he only uses it in extreme situations because he doesn't know what it is. But then in season 2, it's like, oh yeah, he was trained by some of the greatest Jedi Masters to ever live, and I'm like, oh well, that would have been nice to know when shit was going down.
Yeah, that's the thing about his Force abilities, because like I was shocked to see that this person, like this character who can't even speak yet, is able to lift an entire rhino and block a flamethrower. I mean, I'm gonna give him a pass. He was trained in the temple.
He's obviously got some kind of skills. He managed to hide from Anakin fucking Skywalker.
Yeah. Like, he was trained in the temple, and he was actually, trained, unlike some other questionable protagonists. But yeah,
Luke, shut up. I mean, sorry. Shut up with that Rey slander, man.
Don't
Luke
worry, I know. I'm trolling. I'm trolling. But yeah, that's just the whole controversy.
And you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna go off on a little tangent right now.
Oh joy!
I haven't talked about Star Wars in a long fucking time.
All right.
I am tired of people calling Rey a Mary Sue. If you call Rey a Mary Sue, you didn't watch the movies. She went through training. Sorry, this isn't at you. This is at all the fucking toxic ass Star Wars fans that think they know shit. Right. She grew up on Jakku, where she learned to fight because she's a scavenger. You got to fight to survive. She learned to fly because the place is filled with old junky ships, like the Millennium fucking Falcon. Now, granted, she's a little good at shit. Like, yeah, it's a little unrealistic that she picked up a saber and was able to fight Kylo Ren. But also, fuck you, it's a space movie. Luke Skywalker learned what the Force was, and then 2 days later, jumped in an X-Wing and blew up the Death Star. Don't even get me started on Anakin Skywalker, Mr. Chosen One, a.k.a. Mr. MacGuffin. Okay? Every Star Wars protagonist is a Mary Sue. Look at Han Solo. What can't that guy do other than use the Force? And I'm sure that if they gave him the Force, he'd be the best Jedi that ever lived. So shut the fuck up about Rey being a Mary Sue, because of all the problems in the sequel trilogy, Rey isn't one of them. This isn't at you. It's just, I hate Twitter. Twitter has made me such a bitter person, man.
Yeah,
everyone on Twitter bitching about Star Wars. Just like, shut the fuck up. And here I am doing the same thing. Okay, where were we? We were
talking about Grogu. So, I mean, his Force abilities are questionable, but that's one other thing. I guess he just really feels like a plot device, because, the whole plot, like, Mando is out here protecting him from everything that's trying to either capture him or kill him, and he doesn't really do much in response. Like, he'll use the Force on occasion, but other than that, he kind of just sits back and is all babyish, looking cute, I guess. I just don't like that. It just feels like, I like the whole Mando, I think it'll be interesting if Mando went through an arc with him, but Mando immediately grew, attached to him, and from there they just kind of hung out. Yeah, like, maybe if it was he doesn't want to be around him, but then slowly warms up to him, sees him as a son, kind of like a Joel Ellie situation, except nowhere near as intense. Then that could have been something.
I can't fucking wait to see Pedro Pascal get his brain bashed in.
But yeah, there's your Last of Us 2 reference, guys.
I'm still on that shit. I'm replaying it right now.
Oh joy. But anyways, point is, maybe it was something like that could have been something, but other than that, he's just kind of there for marketing and plot convenience and stuff. And I don't know. I wish that he would just have some more incentive. But he is a baby, so I understand he's not going to be out here doing prequel backflips.
He's actually a middle-aged man.
Exactly, he's 50. Some people I'm confused. Like, some people have brought up how confusing that is based on how, age calculations. Since he is of Yoda's race, and Yoda's mentioned to be like 900, and he's like 50 as a baby, while Yoda was literally like a decrepit old man at 900. Based on the math, like, shouldn't Yoda have been like a middle-aged dude or something? Based on Baby Yoda's age, unless Baby Yoda like ages slower, I don't know. It's weird. Maybe Yoda lied about his age or something. I don't know. That just feels.
Did you
weird
say maybe Yoda or Baby Yoda?
Maybe
this
Yoda.
Is why we can't do this shit.
Yeah, maybe Yoda lied about his age. Who knows?
That character. If they had given him a name in season 1, we wouldn't be here. They
exactly.
Just said, oh, look, a name tag on this potato he's in.
Why did they even Why did they hide his name? Because I was thinking, like, usually hide names when it's important, right?
No one's gonna say the child. No
one's
going to say that.
So, like, because they usually hide names when it's important in these kinds of things. Like, obviously, someone like Rey turning out to be the granddaughter of the Empress. You wouldn't obviously want to name your character Rey Palpatine right off the bat. But, of the Emperor. Fuck. Point is, you wouldn't want to name her Rey Palpatine off the back, because that would just immediately give it away. So I was like, oh, is his name going to be like Yoda Jr. or something? Is his name going to be Yaddle the Third?
The Yoda. The baby.
Plot twist, his name is actually Bill Windu. He's Yoda and Mace Windu's love child. But no.
I love that. I love that canon.
Point is, his name was just Grogu, and I was like, does that mean anything at all? And no, it just is. You could have just named him that from the start. It really didn't have to be a mystery, at least in my opinion. But yeah,
I think before we move on to season 2, because that's where most of my thoughts lie.
Yeah, mine too.
I want to talk about Cara fucking Dune.
Well, let's talk about characters in general, because the thing with characters in Mandalorian season 1 at least is that you'll have a bunch of interesting characters who show up, and then they don't actually do anything until the very end of the season. Quill, that was the name of the I Have Spoken guy, right? Quill. IG-11, the both of them are just show up in the first episode and then they're gone till like the end. And Cara Dune is like in the 3rd episode, then she's gone till the end. But yeah. Anyways, you want to talk about Cara Dune?
I want to talk about Cara fucking Dune. Let's talk about Cara Dune and how pissed off she makes me.
Well, I'd like to know the source of this.
Where to start with this? Now, y'all know I'm a very decisive person. I like to rant. I hate this character so much.
Damn.
For a lot of reasons. Now, I didn't have a problem with her until the internet started blowing up about her. Because first, everybody was like, well, okay, so let's chronicle this, right? First, all the people that call Rey Mary Sue are introduced to, the same people who are like, oh, Rey Mary Sue, keep your woke SJW politics out of Star Wars. So those people are introduced to Cara Dune, and they think the same thing. They're like, oh my god, she's such a Mary Sue, she's so good at everything and such a badass. Keep your woke SJW agenda pushing out of my Star Wars. But then, they find out that the actress who plays Cara Dune is just like them. She's, here we go. She voted for Trump, and she's transphobic, and she's
really? Whoa, yeah, slow down. I haven't heard about any of this. Good Lord.
Transphobic.
Oh, Lord.
She supported the riot on the Capitol.
I cannot comment on all that because I have not heard this. I will do my research.
And even if so then they find all that out, and half of the internet is like, we don't like her now because she's not a great person and supports not great people. And then the other half of the internet is like, no, wait, hold on. Oh, she stands up for people like us. She doesn't bow to the woke media.
Oh,
we
Lord.
like Cara Dune. We always liked her. She's my favorite Disney princess because she's a badass who doesn't take no shit from the woke media. And I was like, you know what? Shut the fuck up.
Is that really how this happened? Because I noticed a lot of people hated on Cara, and then suddenly everyone was like, she's a good, strong female character. And I was like, where did this come from?
No, that's the thing. Even if I were to put aside my dislike for the actress, because I do believe that we should separate art from artist.
Yes.
Even if I were to take her awful personality and put it to the side, Cara Dune is still an awful character.
Damn.
and the reason is there is no character. Let's break down her character traits. Or what we know. She's a rebel stripper. She lived on Alderaan for a little bit.
You said dropper, right? It sounded like you said stripper for a second.
I started to say soldier, but then I said trooper.
Okay, so I thought you said rebel stripper.
She's a rebel dropper.
Okay.
She lived on Alderaan for a bit, and she's a badass who can do anything. That's it. There's no character, there's no conflict, there's no reason to be invested in her. The only reason that the internet loves her so much right now is because, she's so badass, she doesn't care about being woke. But it's like...
So it's like a behind-the-scenes thing? Okay.
Yeah, and also, even then, if I were to take the awful personality of the actress, she still can't act. My God.
Oh, I mean, I will be fair. She improved. In the second season 2, I thought she was better there. In season 3, I remember, or season 1, because in season 1, I remember when she was introduced, and she's like giving that speech to the swamp people about how they're gonna fight an ATST. Her acting was kind of cheesy, and I'm like, this isn't like a purposefully cheesy thing. Like, I don't know why she's talking.
She has one face. She has the smirk.
She looked very cheeky.
Anything,
yeah.
She just smirks.
I'm like, she looks awfully cheeky when she's leading these people to fight a war.
Season 2, the motherfucker's like, season 2, the guy's talking to her, he's like, yeah, I bet your family died on Alderaan. She's just smirking at him.
I'm like what's why going on? Is she smirking?
Mando goes to her, and he's like, yeah, they kidnapped the baby. And she smirks.
That's true. I was like, why is she smiling so much? I'm like, is she just optimistic about everything?
There's no character, and that she can't act, but people love her because she didn't. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh Lord.
I hate getting so involved in politics because that's half of what Star Wars is nowadays. Yeah. You got half the internet who are like, yes, representation. You got the other half of the internet is like, no, representation bad. I want to see more white people in Star Wars.
Oh Lord.
Like, I just want to see Star Wars. I just want to see good Star Wars. I don't care who's in it.
Because the thing is, there's a good character concept there. Like, the idea of this, like, survivor from the rebellion period who's kind of looked down upon for her, like, sort of...
someone who's got PTSD and is viewed as, like, an extremist, that's pretty cool. But there's nothing there. There's so many characters in she's not the only one. There's so many characters in the show that are so underdeveloped and underutilized just so that we can get a shot of baby fucking Yoda every 8 seconds.
Yeah, and everyone's saying that she's going to be like a big part of the new Rangers of the New Republic show, which is going to tie into a bigger problem we talk about. But, like, everyone's... Because, like, apparently she became, like, a New Republic Ranger, and she's just been doing stuff off screen, and I'm like, why can't we follow that? That sounds infinitely more interesting.
Classic Star Wars.
Than...
I love when my character development happens off screen.
Yep.
That's classic Star Wars. Hey Anakin, remember when we were best friends? I do remember that.
Remember when we fell in that nest of Gundarks?
Such a shame the audience will have to watch 7 seasons of television to appreciate our character traits.
For real. But yeah,
such classic Star Wars.
Point is, like, all that sounds very interesting. I wish they would actually explore that part of her character, but they don't really, because A, she's barely in the show, and B, she doesn't really do much when she's there, kind of like Mando. But yeah, other than that, she's built. I appreciate that. I appreciate a built woman. That's something.
Abby Nation.
Yeah, hashtag Abby Nation.
That's the thing. I don't get it. They call Rhea Mary Sue, but they don't call Cara Dune Mary Sue because they like what the actress quote unquote stands for. But it's like you can't have it both ways, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we move on to season 2, let's wrap up season 1. My thoughts on season 1? It was pretty good, mindless Star Wars fun that I had missed.
Yeah. Moff Gideon, I wish he was in season 1 more because as soon as he showed up, fantastic villain. Love him.
I fucking love Giancarlo. We talked about this in our last quote-unquote, we talked about this either in part 1 of this podcast or last episode, however this turns out. But God, Giancarlo is such a good actor.
He has him just popping out with the Darksaber at the very end. I was like, oh, okay. I was very hit or miss with that because I was like, are we really going to go there? And I'm like, surely season 2 isn't going to turn into the Easter egg fest, but...
oh, you go.
Oh, boy.
It went beyond that.
Oh boy.
It went so far beyond that.
But yeah,
So let's talk about season fucking 2.
Any final thoughts? I wanted to bring up I mentioned Quail and IG-11 really quick. How they just show up at the very end, and they feel like such interesting characters similar to Cara Dune that go to waste. Like Quail mentions how he was forced into slavery for the Empire, and then him and Cara have a falling out where she thinks that he's still an Imperial loyalist, and then that just never comes up again. And I'm like,
fuck you. You want some good characters, you can go watch something else that's not Star Wars, I'm sorry to tell you.
We'll just wait for the Quail anthology movie. But yeah, then he dies. Yeah, then he dies. He was cool. He was kind of just nice. I don't really know why he was such a nice guy, but he was just kind of nice to everyone. And now he's gone.
Yeah. Ugnaughts be shipping, right?
Yeah, we'll miss him. But yeah, IG-11 was cool. He was badass. And I liked how he had so much emotion despite being a droid. His sacrifice would have been better if, again, they had actually let him do more in the season.
No.
But,
you're asking for too much.
But yeah.
We gotta save up screen time for Toro Calican and Baby Yoda.
Of course. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the season kind of just ends. Mando gets a jetpack. That's cool. The Mandalorians that he lived with pretty much all die except for a few who are gone. And then he learns about the Jedi. So that actually, for once, gives us a narrative hook. Season 2 will be about him trying to get Grogu to the Jedi. Took them long enough. Also, he shows his face. I'm going to be honest, I love Pedro, but I don't think he looks very intimidating as himself.
Shut up.
I'm like, I really, like, when I see him, I'm like, that's the guy who's been doing all these cool flips? Okay, I won't hurt you as a Pedro stan. But yeah.
He's supposed to just be a normal guy. He's not supposed to be anyone special.
Yeah, that's fair. Other than that...
Cool, go look at Hayden Christensen's dumb face.
But yeah, other than that, the episodes are just kind of fun filler. Everybody hates on... I want to bring this up quick. Everybody hates on episode 6, the one where they have to rescue the prisoner.
It's a great fucking episode.
Yeah, I like that episode.
Clancy Brown and Bill Burr in it. Mm-hmm.
I thought, like, even though the characters aren't really developed, I thought that they were a fun gang of just, like, punks for Mando to sort of mess around with. And, yeah. It was fine. It meant literally nothing story-wise, but it was cool.
Season
2! Oh boy, Season 2 was hit or miss for me. A lot of people say this is the controversial one because, some episodes were pretty fun. Some episodes were pretty meh. Overall, I think there's a big core issue with Season 2, but we'll get to that in a second. Just want to talk about the episode. Oh, okay.
I disagree with you.
I don't think which one
was controversial at all.
Oh, okay.
I think that it did exactly what they set out to do. I think it just completely won everyone over. Because at the end of the day, and I'm jumping right into this, at the end of the day, all Star Wars fans want are two things. They want fan service, and they want
Jar Jar
motherfucking lightsabers.
Oh, yes, that too. But yes.
And this season had both. They want stuff that they know. They don't want new stuff. They say that they want new stuff, but in reality, they want new stuff with old stuff. They want stuff that they know, and they want motherfucking lightsabers.
Well, I guess we might as well jump into it, because that's the thing. This season is the Easter egg nest, straight up. It is fan service, the miniseries.
It's honestly kind of pathetic how many people fell for this bullshit.
Like, it was... Because I remember people were talking about it. When all the rumors that Ahsoka was going to join, I was like, yeah, like, they're going to throw Ahsoka into a show about a Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, and there she is. Okay. Because Bo-Katan made sense. Ahsoka was surprised, and I was like, and Boba Fett's here? Like, really? But it can't get any worse. And when I saw about Luke, I thought that was a fan thing. Now, I'm not talking about the CGI. We'll get to that. But I thought, like, Luke coming back, I was like, oh, that's a cool, like, fan edit. Oh, that's the episode. Okay, Luke is here now. But yeah,
I think we should take it.
Was...
I don't know. I don't want to take it like episode by episode. There's one episode I want to talk about, and I guess it ties into this discussion. Really, the only episode. No, that's not. I don't know. There's 3 episodes this season that didn't have, like, oh, cool, look, a new guest character.
3 of the 8.
Look, something
Think about that. 3 of 8 episodes weren't the nostalgia pattern.
You had episode 4, which is when he goes back to Navarro and just does some random shit, and there's a guy with jeans on. And that was fine
yes,
or whatever.
jean guy.
It wasn't awful. And then there's episode 7, which is my favorite episode of the series, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then there's episode 2, which is my least favorite episode because of how stupid and fucking and pointless it is.
Is it the awful frog one?
It's the frog/spider.
I hate that episode.
It's the episodic equivalent of stopping for gas and showing it.
It's literally just stopping for gas. And they threw in some creepy spiders for no reason.
No reason for it. You could have dedicated that episode to character development or anything else, but it's just. Do you think that episode was
just because Dave Filoni wanted to be in the show again? Because didn't he play one of the the Republic pilots in that episode?
I fucking guess. I don't know, man. I told you before, I can't stand Dave Filoni. I don't care how good he is at writing animated series. That man knows one thing, and it's fan service.
He directed the Ahsoka episode, by the way.
Exactly. But which it's...
We'll get to that, because I have some words about Ahsoka.
All he knows how to do with Star Wars is put on a fucking cowboy hat and include a bunch of fan service that a bunch of neck-bearded Redditors are going to go batshit over. And while we're at it, why do you wear a cowboy hat all the time? It's not 1885. Take that shit off, you
The hats, oh my goodness. Dang, this man.
Are we applauding this guy for that? If a woman, this is going to sound so weird, but if a woman were walking around, if Kathleen Kennedy one day started wearing a cowboy hat to work, everybody would be like, oh my god. And she's not even like a professional. Like, why are we applauding this man for wearing a fucking cowboy hat like it's the 18th century? Everything he does pisses me off so much because Star Wars, he could take a shit on a film reel and they'd be like, oh my god.
I'm going to need to make
that's such a cool reference to Knights of the Old Republic. Like, there.
Yeah, I'm going to need to make a super cut of these rants. Anyways, point is, that episode in particular was where it started to drag. Like, because this season is either just so in your face with nostalgia or it's just so in your face with nothing. And that feels very, like the one episode I think that actually balanced it was episode 1, where they go back to Tatooine. They deal with... Yeah, like they deal that was a great way to actually utilize old nostalgia, like the idea of the crate dragon, which was brought up very briefly in the old movies. Like actually have that be something they have to deal with. Have the Tusken Raiders actually fleshed out as characters. That surprised me. Boba Fett's armor, I'm even willing to give a pass because it makes sense lore wise.
And Timothy Oliphant. Timothy Oliphant can rail me any day. Sorry, I get a little too horny on these podcasts.
Good lord. But yeah, the point is...
Timothy Oliphant was his character, Cobb Vanth, is actually fan service. But it's fan service from a really obscure book/comic that nobody but diehard fans have read. So it's like them bringing him into canon is like their way of kind of saying, hey, we acknowledge the EU. So that's fine. I don't mind that. That episode was really kind of... That and episode 7, like the episodes of the...
I forgot about episode 7. That one was good too.
That I'm like, okay, I can really fuck with that. Everything else, I'm just like, okay. But it's just... the problem for me is that everybody hypes up season 2 like it's the best thing in the world, and in reality, it's just really meh. And the only reason that people really like it is because it's got a bunch of fucking characters that they like.
And like, so now, because first I want to talk about Ahsoka. Okay, I don't want to trigger anyone because I know everybody loves Ahsoka. I just don't. I don't hate her. I just don't really care about her.
Ahsoka is quickly becoming Darth Maul for me.
She's literally the new main character of Star Wars. Like, they went out of their way.
I wouldn't be surprised if they made a Knights of the Old Republic movie, yet somehow Ahsoka's like, I gotta travel back.
She time travels Knights of the Old Republic. But yeah, like basically, like, because I was like, okay, Ahsoka's here to just be a one-off character for Clone Wars. She'll probably die by episode 3 or something, and then it turns out that she's actually alive throughout the entire original trilogy, and according to Rebels, she was like in an ancient temple or something.
And that's the thing with Disney. It's like ever since Disney has taken over, it's like, yeah, all this shit was going on in the background of the film.
We just never saw it.
But these characters didn't help out because...
Darth Maul came back to life. Boba Fett's been kicking. Ahsoka was there in the entire original trilogy and just didn't help fight the Empire. Like, all this stuff is going... I swear, they're going to reveal that Mace Windu is still alive and that he's secretly training an army of clones.
I have had my money on that for a while.
For real. They're going to bring back anyone they can. Anyone who falls down a pit is still alive, I'm telling you.
Yeah. If you fall in Star Wars, you come back.
Pretty much. Yeah, Boba Fett had his turn. Darth Maul had his turn. Palpatine had his turn. When is Mace getting his turn? But anyways, point is, there's just a lot of, like, all this, like, lore stuff going on. With Ahsoka in particular, like, they just hype her up in everything. Like, I don't even know. She really did not need to be in Season 2 of The Mandalorian.
No, it could... I would have rather... I don't know. I get why she was there, but it felt so...
Like, it felt like a pit stop, because I was thinking, oh, Ahsoka's going to be the one to take Grogu. Okay, but no. She's all like, no, I'm not taking Grogu. I'll just lead you to someone else who can take Grogu. So you might as well skip over Ahsoka. Just have it be that Mando finds out about the ancient temple and just takes Grogu there. And also just have his name be revealed somewhere else. Because that's the only two things Ahsoka contributes. She tells him to go to a temple, and she reveals Grogu's name in past. Both of which could have been revealed by someone else like Luke.
She did a cool lightsaber fight.
Oh, true. Everybody loves the lightsaber fight. That was, I mean, the choreography was, I mean, I don't know. I don't think she looks that good in live action because, I personally...
No, I don't think she translated well to live action at all.
I just don't like the live action, animation to live action transition because it always looks meh because animation is limitless and live action is limited. But, yeah, I don't know. Her horns got smaller. Anyways, point is, I thought that someone like Ahsoka... I don't know what those things are.
I know what they're called, but it's escaping me right now.
Okay. Point is, I don't know if she had to be there. She was just kind of there because of fan service, and I'm like, okay, for the people who like Ahsoka. The problem is, she's getting her own show, so why didn't you just save her for that? That's the big thing I want to get into next. Mandalorian Season 2 is I don't know, what's the equivalent I'm looking for? Batman v Superman. It is the setup story. It is the setup for the bigger universe. The MCU. The Mandalorian Cinematic Universe. Because at this point, Mandalorian is branching out into a show.
It's really kind of sad.
Yeah.
I remember remarking around episode 5, I believe. I remember remarking, damn, you might as well just call it the Mandalorian and Friends. Or Friends with the Mandalorian. Because the main character is kind of reduced to a side character.
He really, like, he's just overshadowed by everyone. Like, everyone wants to go back and watch.
Baby Yoda and Friends, and also the Mandalorian shows up.
Baby Yoda, his babysitter, and his friends.
He kind of just feels like a pawn.
Yeah,
it used to be his story, and now it's just like he's a pawn for everyone else. He's like the Fallout 4 NPC. Everyone, he like goes to someone, and this formula really pissed me off. He meets a new person, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll help you, but you got to help me first. And now that you've helped me, go somewhere else." And they do that like 8 times.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't do it 8 times. They do it like 3 times.
That's the thing. Like, everyone cares about the scenes with Ahsoka, the scenes with Luke, the scenes with Bo-Katan. No one wants to go back and talk about when Mando took out the Crate Dragon.
Or episode 4.
No one wants to talk about Mando escorting a frog. Like, everybody cares about the epic scenes with their favorite nostalgic characters instead. That's why it's just too crowded for an 8-episode series. Like, if this season had just Boba Fett, I wouldn't mind. If it had just Bo-Katan and her friends, I wouldn't mind. If it had just Ahsoka, I wouldn't even mind. But why are all these major characters in this 8-episode series?
Getting shows.
Yeah.
They're all getting... Except for Bo-Katan, who is just going to probably be the star of Season 3 as they're setting it up.
Yeah. That's the thing. Ahsoka's getting her own show. Cara Dune's going to be for...
his own book.
Boba Fett's getting the Book of Boba Fett. Cara Dune's going to be in Rangers of the New Republic. Luke is, who knows? There's rumors there's going to be a sequel show for Luke and Friends. Who knows where they're going with that. And Mando and Bo-Katan then will probably continue into Mando Season 3. They're setting up a whole universe of various shows. My question is, why did it all have to be in this season? Like, you really just couldn't wait to set up these other characters, because pretty sure these shows aren't even coming out for a while. Because, again, they just overshadow the main character. Mando does practically nothing in this season.
No, I feel like Bo-Katan could have filled his role.
For real.
I don't know, man.
You might as well just throw him out and have Bo-Katan be the character.
He's only there. Oh, this is just so awful to say. I feel like he's only there for the emotional connection that the audience has with his relationship with Grogu.
Pretty much.
Because I'll be honest, you could have fulfilled his role, but if you did, you wouldn't have had that nice moment at the end of season 2 where they shared a nice tender goodbye.
Yeah.
This season, every episode that came out just bugged me, and as is customary with Star Wars, the second you start to say anything negative about anything that isn't the sequel trilogy, you get kind of shit on. I would tell people, like, I don't know, man, I have X, Y, and Z issues, and like, oh my god, dude, can't you just appreciate what we're getting? Like, we're getting good Star Wars, fine, unlike the shitty sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I would go on social media, and nobody would be able to talk about this without putting down the sequel trilogy. In Star Wars, it's always, it's never, I like this. It's always, I like this so much more than that shitty sequel trilogy. Oh my god. It's like we're getting good Star Wars again, and all y'all could talk about is negative Star Wars, and you'll wonder why. Oh, I hate Star Wars so much. It's so negative. It turns me such a cynical.
Give in to your anger.
That's what I feel like I'm fucking. I gotta calm down. I gotta figure out how to frame my thoughts on this clusterfuck of a season.
But yeah, basically, like we said, there's a lot of stuff going on. None of it really connects. Like, stuff like when Ahsoka, I really just rolled my eyes when Ahsoka is in that fight and she says, "Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" I'm like, seriously?
Oh my god, yeah.
Did that really have to be here? That literally means nothing to the story.
We get it. We're setting up her show.
That you really could have just saved that
if
for another show.
If there was one character that I wanted to come back but didn't, it would have been Cobb Vanth.
Ooh.
It would have been fun if they had replaced him with Cara Dune. Cara Dune's getting her own show. We're going to get plenty of her. Why not bring him back? He's not doing anything. Mm-hmm. He's a cool character. I like him. He would have happily hung out with you in the final episode.
Yeah. Other than that, then you have like Cara Dune, or Bo-Katan is trying to get the Darksaber back for her throne. Like, I can kind of excuse that since she's a Mandalorian and they sort of have a connection, but like the Darksaber subplot is A, not fleshed out, and B, not really explored at all. And then they leave it on a cliffhanger, so I guess, like, is Mando going to be the leader of the Mandalorians? Because they mentioned they have to fight for it.
They're probably going to do some fucking bullshit Jon Snow thing where he's like, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And that's all he says the whole season. He's like, I don't want to be king.
And he just keeps ignoring it. King. I'm not king. I'm not worthy.
I don't want it. She's my queen.
I swear. Other than that, you have...
This is such a clusterfuck of a season that I can't even figure out how to frame my thoughts.
Me neither. I'm just jumping.
I really want to talk about episode 7, because like I said, that's my favorite episode in the show. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I like that episode a lot, because it has something that I haven't seen in Star Wars in a while, and that is character development.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've seen some proper character development in Star Wars. Mayfeld, somehow in 40 minutes, Mayfeld becomes a more interesting character than anyone in the prequel.
For real. Mayfeld, I was like, this one-off guy. I was like, and he somehow became the most interesting character for me. I'm like, wow, okay.
He's fleshed out, and he has nice monologues. He has nice moments within. You believe the reasons he's doing what he's doing. Like, I can stand behind everything he does. Yeah. I really like Mayfeld. If anyone was going to get a goddamn show, give it to him. But no, we got to have a droid's tale.
We got to have a show for that guy from Rogue One that no one even remembered the name of till they announced the show.
Just so much of season 2 felt dedicated to setting up other shows or saying, hey guys, look, a character you know. It was just nice to have kind of a breather.
Yeah, like there was just a story about these actual original characters in the world. Boba Fett, we haven't really talked about him. I don't think they really explain how he survived.
I
But
don't know.
whatever.
I think that I'm okay with. That I'll just chalk
Yeah,
up to he's Boba Fett. Who cares?
yeah. Again,
And I
fall down
kind
a
of like
pit,
him.
you're still alive. That's how it
I
works.
kind
But
of
yeah,
like him in this season. And like you said, if it
yeah,
was
he was
just
cool.
Boba Fett,
Mm-hmm.
it would be fine. It's just you know, at the end of the day, he feels like he's just another one of those guest characters that Dave
Yeah.
Filoni and Jon Favreau wanted to. And here, how about this? This is my main point.
Mm-hmm.
This show
Mm-hmm.
has, for me,
Mm-hmm.
the show feels corporate. It feels like it was made
Studio mandated.
with it was studio mandated and made
Mm.
with one idea in mind, and that was let's win them back. Let's make something that we know they'll like, and for me it doesn't have any of the magic or whimsy or just spectacle of the original Star Wars. And the only
Mm.
thing that I have seen in a long time that has recaptured that is Rogue One. Rogue One is the only movie that they've made that made me go, this is Star Wars. This is what I think Star Wars should feel like and see and be like. And this still feels so corporate. It just feels like, okay, we got to make something that will let them forgive us for the sequels. And that's what people are saying. They're like, thank you, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, for saving Star Wars. Star Wars is good again.
That's what I've seen that. I've seen that commented so many places.
Star Wars is good again. Thank you for saving it. It's like, you guys really don't want anything different, do you? You really just want new things with old things. You can't. It's so
But yeah. Other than all that, I mean, the season feels like it just kind of has. We already talked about pacing. It doesn't really go much anywhere. At least it has a through line with the whole Mando is searching for the Jedi thing. Still, the subplots that hold it down, like the whole frog one and all that stuff, do kind of get in the way. I really don't know. Like, you can't afford to waste time on a 8-episode show like this. Like, when you have such a limited runtime and you fill it up with so many characters who contribute barely anything. But yeah, that's just kind of my warning to the show. Like, because it's going down the same hole that got them stuck. Everyone's saying Star Wars is saved. Unironically, Star Wars has fallen down the same hole that got it killed in the first place. And that is the nostalgia well. When it's just empty, blank nostalgia. Like, remember this, remember all that. And when you keep doing that, you don't expand. Like, that was the big problem with the sequel trilogy. It didn't really go forward. It just retold the old story. And now we're getting all these old elements in again. And it's taken place during the old movie time. It's like in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And they're still incorporating as many old elements they can, like the Empire, X-Wings, Jedi, lightsabers, all that. And I'm like, that's all good, but can we get some interesting content? Because that's what it was at first. Mando was going across the galaxy, hunting all that. We saw interesting planets, but now it's starting to turn into just the same old mysticism with Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka and Boba Fett and everything we know before.
And that's my biggest problem with it. Well,
Yeah.
other than the corporate feel, is that it used to be separate. It used to be, for the first time in so long, we were getting some kind of Star Wars story that wasn't connected to the main quote-unquote Skywalker saga, and now it is. Now it's just about Mandalore and what happened when Darth Maul did this, and then blah, blah, blah. It's just filling in the gaps from Rebels and shit. It's canon cramming. I'm so tired.
Like, at this
of it.
point, there's so much canon you have to follow. Like, now you have to have seen the movies. In order to understand Mandalorian Season 2, you have to have watched Clone Wars and Rebels, which they barely talked about, to understand all these characters showing up. Like, so many people are like, who the hell is Bo-Katan? And they're like, well, if you watch the Rebels cartoon Season 4, and also Season this of Clone Wars...
You are risking alienating so much of your audience.
Just to, because that's the thing. Like, everyone's saying, because everyone's complaining, oh, the new Star Wars isn't appealing to hardcore fans, and now they're only appealing to hardcore fans.
Yeah,
you got to appeal to everyone, you know. Got to have a mix of nostalgia for the fans and also good content. But yeah, like at this point, like if you haven't seen all these shows and read these comic books, you won't understand what's going on. And they don't really market it that well, so that kind of hurts the reception.
it's just I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk. I got a lot of negative. Well, I got a lot of thoughts about the final episode.
And are you talking about him or just the episode as a whole? Because I want to
As a
say,
whole.
Moff Gideon was definitely the best part of that episode and just the season. I wish we got more of him. I really don't know why he has the Darksaber or why he cares, but Moff Gideon was cool. Him fighting Mando was surprising.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that fight a lot. And here's my big thing about episode 16.
Mm-hmm.
It is a perfectly fine episode. It's all right. It's got good action, and I like it. But the more people talk about it, the more I hate it. Much like Joker, because let's look. I'm gonna use. I like this comparison. Breaking Bad episode. Oh, I'm not even gonna try. The 14th episode of season 5 of Breaking Bad is the only episode of TV ever to get a 10 out of 10 on IMDb, and it has held that rating. It has never dropped. There are a couple episodes of Attack on Titan. There are like 2 episodes of Attack on Titan that have.
Yeah, everyone's ranking Attack on Titan high right now because it's like a hype in the community or whatever.
Yeah, there are a couple episodes of Attack on Titan that have either 9.9 or probably 10, but I don't think people count it as much because it's animated. But seriously, Breaking Bad, Ozymandias is the only episode to ever have a 10 out of 10. And it deserves that because it is the culmination of 5 seasons of television. It is a perfect. I hate using the word perfect, but it is, in my opinion, the best episode of television ever written. And the episode with Luke Skywalker in it has a 9.9.
I noticed that. Yes, everyone
You wanna
literally
know why?
when I want on the
You
chart.
know why it has a 9.9?
Because of Luke.
Because it's Luke motherfucking Skywalker. If Luke Skywalker, and I keep trying to tell people this, and they
If
won't
Luke
listen.
wasn't
If
in
Luke
that
Skywalker
episode,
wasn't in
it
that
would just be an
It's like an
episode.
8.3. It's like you guys are hyping. You're falling into their trap. The studio is baiting you, and you're taking it. You're taking the bait.
Yeah, so we might as well talk about
that
that situation because Luke was a big talking point and still is because of his appearance. For 2 reasons.
No, if I hadn't woken up at 3 a.m. to watch the episode, it would have gotten spoiled for me the very next morning because it was such a big thing. It was such a big thing that people could not contain it. People were like, "What the fuck is a spoiler warning? Let's talk about this." Even Mark Hamill later in the day tweeted, "You guys see anything good on TV recently?" So it's like
that's so him, but yeah.
But all that episode did for me, so all that cameo did for me was bring out the toxicity of Star Wars fans again. It's like thank you so much, Jon Favreau, for saving Luke Skywalker, showing us what Luke Skywalker should be, and not what he was in the shitty sequels. And I'm like, it's good to know that you guys only judge a character's worth by how good they look when they swing a lightsaber.
For real? That's why I was so confused. I was like, oh, well, this must be a good character of growth for Luke. And then I watched the scene, and all he did was he showed up, he killed a bunch of robots with his lightsaber, pretty violently for a Jedi, if I might add. And then he just took Rogue, and I was like, that's it? I was like, that's it? Like, it's cool. But, like, really?
This is what Luke Skywalker is supposed to be. I'm like, okay.
He's supposed to be a super soldier?
I'm like, yeah, okay, hey, 2 things. Hey, who the fuck are you, Mr. High and Mighty, to say what Luke Skywalker is supposed to be? I'm sorry, I didn't know you were Lawrence Kasdan, Mr. Screenwriter. Like, and then B, I'm serious. If you have ever said the words Mandalorian Luke Skywalker is better than Last Jedi Luke Skywalker, then you are basically admitting to me that all you like in Star Wars is lightsaber fighting.
For real. Like, let me say,
he didn't do anything in that episode other than swing a goddamn laser sword. And yeah, he looked good doing it, and I liked his cameo until the internet blew up. While I was watching the episode, I was like, this is cool. I like this. And I saw his face.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Trust me. First, I want to say, let me preface. I have beef. I don't have beef, but because I'm not like a hater or anything. I'm critical of The Last Jedi's portrayal of Luke. That the whole infamous portrayal with how people call him Jake Skywalker because he acts like a different person. I think my problem with Luke in The Last Jedi is not that he's different, just that it was not properly developed. I think that the idea of him just pulling out a lightsaber over Ben is kind of jarring and should have been fleshed out more. The way he reacts, Mm-hmm.
It's not. I don't dislike it because he was different. I dislike it because it wasn't handled well. But I appreciate. You gotta appreciate that Rian Johnson at least tried to take a beloved character and kind of humanize him.
Yeah, I do. I actually really appreciate that.
And it's like, and everyone hates it because they're not used to Star Wars characters being so developed. They don't like character development. They like lightsaber fighting.
Yeah, because
everyone loves the prequels nowadays, because there is no character development. It's just fucking lightsaber fighting.
Yeah, so it's like I said, like I like the idea. I just think it needed to be fleshed out better. And ultimately, like when it comes to this Luke, like he didn't have any character. He kind of just fought and was like, "I'll go train Grogu," and then he left. And that's, I really don't get why that was necessary. I don't know. Like he just kind of showed up and left. And I mean, it makes sense for the plot. They needed a Jedi to take Grogu, so sure. But they could have handled that anywhere else. You could have just had Mando go to a planet, find Luke, and be like, "Here's Grogu," and it would have changed nothing story wise.
Yeah, like you watch the reaction clips of people crying when they watch that.
People were like, "Yo," and I'm like,
Keep your dick in your pants, man.
I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It's a cool fight, but again, there's no real character here. And everyone's saying this was like what they needed. This was like legendary. This is like the best Star Wars content in ages. And I'm like, really?
Okay, y'all are weird.
I'm like, again, I know that I've seen this effect because it happened with me because, I'm critical of Rogue One. I don't hate it. I'm just critical of it. But I remember immediately saying it was the best thing ever when I saw it. Why? Because of the ending scene with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That scene where I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. This movie's amazing. And then I thought about the movie outside of the scene. I was like, the movie's okay without the scene. I'm like, it doesn't really save the film. And it's kind of the same thing here. Like, it's a good episode. And then Luke shows up and does action. And apparently that immediately makes it a 10 out of 10. That gives you, it goes from 8 out of 10. It gets 2 whole points just for a cool fight scene.
No, I swear to God, I am going to riot if this episode
hits 10 out of 10.
Ozymandias, I will literally probably hurt somebody.
That's just my stance.
No episode in this show deserves a fucking 10 out of 10. Some of them barely deserve a 5.
Why was R2 there? That was where I rolled. That was my second eye roll. Yeah.
Remember R2?
That was my second eye roll for the season. I'm like, yeah, R2 travels with Luke, but why did they purposely have him just pop up and then just have Grogu interact with him? Just because because it was cute. Everyone's like, oh, look, R2 meets Grogu.
So that fucking weird neckbeards could make 10-minute videos titled, "What did R2 say to Grogu?"
Hey guys, here's what R2 said to Grogu. I'm going to repeat this information 5 times to stretch it to 10 minutes to get ad revenue.
I get that ad revenue, baby.
Here's what Luke's blinking towards Mando secretly meant. But stuff
like that. I don't know
if
you watch that scene. He doesn't blink.
Oh Lord, we might as well talk about that. Because I've seen this comment going around. It doesn't matter if the digital effects looked bad. It's good to see Luke again. Hold the fucking phone there. This is a personal pet peeve. You know how we all complain about CGI taking over movies? Now there's CGI backdrops and everything. CGI costumes. Now we're CGI-ing humans? I don't like this.
It was okay with Carrie Fisher and Peter Cushing because they're dead. And their characters.
That's a whole other thing too. I already have a rant about that in a video I'm gonna do, but we can talk about that later. The point is, I understand that, but why are we doing this with living people for one scene and stuff? I complained about how Leia's scene in Rogue One really didn't need to be there. You just had her turned around talking. We would have understood from the white robe and hair buns that it was Leia. They just went out of their way to make an uncanny face. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody would have complained because she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the nobody complained about Leia's stupid ass fucking death in Rise of Skywalker because
that's a whole other thing. But point is, with Luke and the Mandalorian, like the CGI. We shouldn't ignore that. We shouldn't be making CG people, period. But like, really, for this scene, it's just uncanny, and everyone, you shouldn't just ignore that, because I just have a problem with this thing. It just rubs me the wrong way.
And I still feel bad about this because I think I took my friends out of it. But I remember we were watching it and we were like, "Oh my god, dude, this is so cool! It's Luke! Oh my god, we're loving this!" And then he took off his hood, and my friends were like, they didn't say anything, and I went, "Ugh," and they were like, "What's wrong? It looks okay." I'm like, Really?
No. Just no.
And they were like, okay, well, yeah, the eyes are kind of messed up, and his mouth is kind of fucked up. I'm like, oh, okay, so the whole face? What other parts are okay then? What do you like?
The pores on his cheeks.
His eyes are soulless.
He looks like a Battlefront 2 cutscene. Oh my gosh. If I hadn't known, if you would show me that screenshot and I didn't know the episode was out, I would have been like, oh, that's some cool Battlefront 2 DLC. Like, and then his lips,
why? His lips were plastic, and his upper lip moved separately. He looked like Superman at Justice League. So people are like, if you just don't look at this, then it's fine. I'm like, okay.
If you just ignore the visuals and visual medium, it's pretty good.
Yeah, if you just look at it, then it's great.
That's what I hate about people who just ignore visual effects in movies. People are always like, just ignore it and pay attention to the story. And I'm like, yes, the story's good. However, this is a visual medium. Visual medium should have good visuals. This is uncanny. It takes me out of it. So how about we just stop CGI actors and just get someone else to do it?
Especially when you have a solution. Because literally everyone in the world has fan-casted Sebastian.
Even Mark Hamill agrees to it. Even Mark Hamill. Yeah. It's like, just get Sebastian Stan.
Everybody would have understood.
He's already working for Disney. Just get him in The Mandalorian for 2 seconds.
Have him walk across the fucking studio lot and for real. A cameo.
Just be like, hey, put on this black robe and say you're Luke.
Everybody would have understood. Nobody expects these old-ass actors to play young versions of the characters anymore.
Well, don't get excited. People still want them to come back. People still want Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones at this point, so who knows?
I don't think Harrison Ford wants Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones.
Exactly.
Did you see the latest thing? There are 2 interviews that I really like with Harrison Ford. The first was someone goes, hey, was your character in Rise of Skywalker a Force ghost? Or what do you think about that? He goes, I don't fucking know what a Force ghost is, and I don't care. and then somebody, this is a really famous interview. This is for an old one, but I still love it. Just, they're like, hey, did you shoot first, or did Greedo shoot first? And he goes, oh, I don't care. He's just so funny. Like, I feel the same way about Star Wars that he does. Just like, anyone's like, you catch the Mandalorian? Like, oh, I don't care. I just don't care. Just don't talk to me about the Mandalorian.
But yeah, point is, back on track with Luke. His CGI just looks uncanny, takes you out of it. Just get another person. Like, when you put Alden Ehrenreich in a Han Solo jacket and say, this is Han Solo, we as an audience go, okay, so just get anyone else, put them in Luke's robe, and say, this is Luke Skywalker, and we'll go, okay. So yeah, that's really all there is to it.
How about this? How about we just cast Alden Ehrenreich in all the old roles? How about he just plays everybody now? So it's like, we have a flashback of Leia, he puts on a wig, we have a flashback of Lando, Alden Ehrenreich does blackface, let's just do it, man. Like,
oh Lord.
I just don't understand why we needed, I don't know, I'm tired of it.
It is too much. Other than that, the scene itself, I mean, I don't know what to say. I just think it was just unnecessary fan service, but I could ignore that if not for just how everyone's reacting to it, acting like it's the best thing ever. Again, I have problems with the way they portrayed Luke in TLJ, but this does not automatically rectify it. Like, if they make a Luke show, hopefully they'll get Sebastian Stan or some actual human to play him and flesh out his character, then that would be one thing.
Please don't make a Luke show.
At this point, they're making a show about everyone, which is going to be our next point.
My favorite character, and I just don't want to see any more of him. The more I see him, the more I'll dislike him.
Last thing I'll say is that, the thing is as much as everybody likes this scene, we got to accept that he's going to end up as the milk drinking, nearly kills his nephew Luke anyways. So like, there's only so much you can do to quote unquote save
so
a
why
character.
do you like it so much?
It's like people who
for you?
it's like people who hype up Anakin in the Clone Wars. Anakin's cool in the Clone Wars, but keep in mind that 2 days later he's gonna be on Mustafar, all like, I hate you. So
yeah, literally 2 days.
No matter, like, keep in mind, keep in mind
like,
that
Anakin. The day before he turns to the dark side, Anakin's like, "Ah, dude, I'm so fucking happy," and then the next day he's like, and people are like, "Yes, this is great characterization.
Yeah,
you just have to watch 7 seasons of television to understand it."
Yeah, the guy who's like over here hugging and loving Padme, all emotional, is the same guy who said, "I don't like sand, and I killed them all. I slaughtered them like animals." Keep that in mind. But yeah, anyways, that's just my opinion on that. So I mean, might as well get into the next point. I already made the joke about the quote-unquote MCU, Mandalorian Cinematic Universe. So let's talk about that, shall we? So I guess the bigger picture is there are so many shows, movies, and other projects on the way now for the Star Wars universe and are all apparently branching off of The Mandalorian, which had literally nothing to do with the Star Wars universe 1 season ago. I just find that ironic, but like I know there's we've already mentioned Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic. There's gonna be like a show about Lando, a show about the guy from Rogue One whose name I don't even remember.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a show about something called the Alkalite, which I think is going to be like set up for, I don't even know what that is. There's just a show for everything now. That's all been announced. Oddly enough, a lot of people have pointed out the trilogy, some other trilogies that they announced previously have disappeared from the Star Wars mythos. They canceled the ones from the Game of Thrones guys, I'm pretty sure. They were going to do a Star Wars trilogy, then they canceled that.
Yeah, they flushed their reputation down the toilet. I don't think they'll ever work again.
I heard about that whole Game of Thrones fiasco. And of course, Rian Johnson's trilogy is nowhere to be seen. I remember they made a big deal about how he was going to do his own custom trilogy, and they've said literally nothing about it for like 3 years.
No, that got canceled too.
Did it officially get canceled? I did not hear that.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's all shows now.
It's all just yeah, that's the thing. Movies. Star Wars is just shows. I think the only movie coming out is...
has progressed past the need for movies.
Yeah, the only movies that's coming out is like Rogue Squadron by Patty Jenkins, who did Wonder Woman. That's the only... And I think Taika Waititi is making a movie for Star Wars. They haven't said anything about it, just that he's making one.
Taika.
So that's like it. And other than that, it's just all shows. A bunch of shows. There's a show about droids. There's going to be a show that's reportedly a, quote, Star Wars anime. There's going to be everything.
Not just a show about droids. A show about R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Yeah,
I mean... We didn't have fucking enough of those guys.
I hope they do it justice, because I love R2 and C-3PO, but who knows. Point is, there's going to be a show about everything at this point. And it's all nostalgia-based. Like, do we need a Lando show? Do we really?
The Lando show is like the only one that they're like Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with.
Oh, I forgot about
Visions,
Boba Fett. Yeah,
I'm okay with because Visions sounds unique.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like the what if of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And Lando I'm okay with because I just really want more Donald Glover Lando.
Oh, well, if it's Donald Glover Lando, then I'm totally on board.
Yeah, it's Donald Glover Lando.
Okay, I thought it was gonna be Billy D. Williams. He's old.
Billy D. Williams.
He's old and retired.
Barton every time he steps. He's too old for this shit. He's like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
But no, it's like there's like three. There's three that I'm okay with, and then it's like, but there's 11 projects.
Oh
and
Lord!
You can't really pass it off as something for everyone because it's just so much.
For real, it's literally just the MCU at this point. Like just announcing
a
bajillion slates.
Don't even get me fucking started on the MCU.
Oh, the MCU itself had its whole slate. Like there's a bajillion projects on the way for that.
I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent. This is tiny. To put this in perspective, in the first 10 years of the MCU, there were 22 projects.
That's a lot.
In the next 3 years, there are 25 MCU projects.
Christ almighty.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's too much.
I don't even know how, like, getting a movie a year for anything is already a shock to me, but now at this point, there's going to be that many projects. DC wants
It's
to
shows.
do... Yeah.
It's all shows.
Marvel's doing a bunch of shows and movies. DC wants to do 6 movies a year. Now we got Star Wars with like a bajillion shows.
Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here like, you motherfuckers need to stay inside so I can watch my new Wes Anderson film. Like,
for real.
Still doing this shit. We're coming up on a year now.
That being said, like back with Star Wars specifically,
yeah.
The Mandalorian is just being shrouded out. Like, I get, because everyone was saying that The Mandalorian was always going to be a Kickstarter, right? But they have really just gone out of the ballpark really fast. Literally in season 2, they set up like 3.5 shows with hints, with little subtle hints at other ones. Like, we never figured out what's going on with those clones that Moff Gideon has. And people are saying that those clones are going to be clones of Palpatine, that we're getting a Palpatine show and everything. People are saying that Grogu's going to be in his own show with Luke. People are saying that The Mandalorian's going to branch out into a show about Mando and the Watch versus Gina Carano and everything. And I'm like, this is all too much too soon. For a show that was literally just about a guy and his kid. Like, that's just crazy to me. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Too much for me.
So, like I said, I gave the warning about season 2, how it was going into the nostalgia well. I just hope that they don't fall into the nostalgia well, because only like 2 or 3 of the projects sound original. So who knows where they go with that. I imagine most of them are going to get canceled. This is a thing a lot of these big studios do. They announce like 20 projects and then most of them get canceled. I remember how everybody was hyping up the Gambit movie. Remember how everybody was hyping up New Mutants actually came out. Everybody was hyping up.
Oh, I watched that. It was fucking horrible.
Really?
We didn't talk about that, but I watched it. I fucking hated it.
That could be an episode of its own. Who knows? Point is, there's just a lot of stuff going on for Star Wars, for cinema in general, but definitely Star Wars. The problem that got them here was that they rushed things. Remember when Force Awakens was fresh off and they announced a million projects, like the aforementioned Rian Johnson trilogy, the Game of Thrones trilogy. There were rumors that J.J. Abrams was going to direct his own Star Wars miniseries after the success and everything. All this stuff that ended up just kind of disappearing. The Mandalorian was reportedly supposed to be a Boba Fett show. Obi-Wan Kenobi's show got delayed like 12 times. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean.
I still hate the idea of an Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
So do I.
I will never like it.
And Darth Vader's going to be in it. Like, I don't even know how you make that work with the timeline.
Kennedy is like, they're going to fight again.
No.
And I'm like, why?
No,
why do we need that?
No.
That kind of diminishes the point of, A New Hope.
I swear the Kenobi show is literally just going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi just sitting on Tatooine watching Luke from afar for like 12 episodes. Just like, yep, he's doing his routine. Because you can't even have him interact with Luke. So who even knows where they're going with that. But yeah. Either way, there's just a lot going on. And I guess that's just my point.
Those are all my Star Wars thoughts.
Yeah, my point for...
I don't have anything else if you don't.
I have just a couple of loose notes. There's rumors going around that the sequel trilogy is going to be decanonized in favor of the Mando universe. No. I know. I don't believe it. Like, it's
all fake. It's made up by those stupid motherfuckers who put, like $40 million towards remaking The Last Jedi.
Oh,
by the way, if you're listening to, and I mean, if you're listening to this and you donated money to the campaign to remake The Last Jedi, I mean this in the nicest possible way. You're a dumbass.
Damn.
$40 million. It's either 4 or 40. Either way, all of that money could have been put towards something that matters. But you're so pissed off about a goddamn Star Wars movie that you... okay. Yep. Even Mark Hamill thinks you guys are fucking stupid.
Either way, that whole thing, I doubt they would ever do that. Like, that would be millions of dollars down the drain.
They're not going to do that. There's no way they would do that.
Yeah, they've already referenced the new movies in The Mandalorian. Like, they referenced The Resistance, how this guy talks about how Cara Dune, they want to set up a team to fight against the Rising Empire and even play the Resistance theme in the background. And some guy mentions Canto Bite, which personally made me shiver.
Yeah, like I am
yeah.
so sorry that you were so offended by the quote-unquote woke SJW sequel trilogy.
Long story short, they're not decanonizing it. I doubt. Some people have brought up that the Grogu is Luke's first student, even though they said that Kylo Ren was. So I don't know if that's just a plot hole. Whatever. Point is, I doubt they're decanonizing it. For other loose notes, I already mentioned Mando a lot. I already talked about the CGI. I mean, that's about it. All in all, for these 2 seasons, Mando season 1 was okay. Mando season 2 was clustered. And at this point, the show is just becoming too much too soon. So this is about how to reconstruct a franchise and then immediately start to tumble it into the same pit that caused it to need to reconstruct it in the first place. So I hope they know what they're doing, and I hope they slow the fuck down, because holy hell, that's a lot of shows.
Yeah, no chance. Fuck you. Making money, we're going to keep doing it. We'll keep doing it until you stop watching it.
Who knows what's going to happen with Grogu, because I seriously doubt they're just going to get rid of Grogu and leave him with Luke. He is like their moneymaker, so they're going to figure out something.
Do you know how fucking funny it would be if he just dies? Like if Kylo Ren just killed him?
Yeah, that's the root. A lot of people are like that Kylo Ren's just going to kill him.
Everything that the first 2 seasons was is just, he's dead. All right.
Well, to be fair, remember that's what we all thought was going to happen to Ahsoka. For all we know, Grogu is still kicking at the end of The Rise of Skywalker, and he's going to walk up to Rey after she says Rey.
He was in one of those ships.
He was piloting one of the ships in the final order.
One of those stupid ships.
Everyone was in those ships. Literally everyone. Mace Windu was probably one of those ships that's set up for episode 10. For the good Lord. But yeah, point is, who knows what they'll do with Grogu. I imagine they're going to keep him around as long as they can. Keep him a baby as long as they can. Just because profit.
Cute baby. Cute baby. Cute.
But yeah, that's it for all of Mando. The lesson is just don't blow it too early, I guess, for Disney.
Yep.
Recommendations.
I'm going through a weird Muppet phase right now.
Oh, okay.
Like, I know it's weird,
mm-hmm.
but I grew up with the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a funny, really great show on Disney Plus. It's
mm-hmm.
called The Muppets, all lowercase. It's a parody of The Office.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a mockumentary where they work on like a talk show, and it's very surprisingly funny. Like, it's the Muppets, but with modern humor. It's really funny. I really recommend it. There's an odd amount of sex and weed jokes in it, and I love it.
Oh, Lord.
It's like the Muppets, but for teenagers. I love it. I really recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I want to recommend a little story that I personally like. It is a little mini. It's not in the U.S. That's the weird thing, but it is a mini series called Monkey Kid. It is a promotional cartoon for a Lego property by the same name called Monkey Kid. If that name sounds familiar, it's based on Chinese myth, Journey to the West, and the infamous character Monkey King from that story. You may know Son Goku from Dragon Ball. He's based on Son Wukong, the Monkey King. Point is, this Lego property is a sort of modern-day sequel revamp of Journey to the West and the Monkey King. And it's obviously just a promotional cartoon. However, it has some really good animation. It's by the same people who did Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And their animation quality is phenomenal.
Is it animated?
Yes, it's animated.
So, is it animated like Ninjago is animated? Or
no, it's not like a 3D animation. It's hand-drawn 2D. Like Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Uses a lot of the same animation techniques they used on that. And I think it looks really good.
My friends are weirdly fucking obsessed with Ninjago, so I am.
I'm not gonna lie, I have a guilty pleasure for Ninjago. Yeah, every
Ninjago
once in a while.
Yeah. There are good memories associated with Ninjago.
That was my childhood right there. But yeah, a lot of people are comparing Monkey Kid with Ninjago, saying it could replace it. I don't think it will merchandise-wise because the Lego company...
They said that about Chima, and Chima sucked.
True. The Lego company barely advertises it. You can't actually buy any sets outside of the official Lego store. So that's why no one's ever heard of it.
I was in a Lego store 2 weeks ago, and the sets look fucking great.
Yeah, but they don't advertise them anywhere else, so that's why literally no one's heard of it. And so all that great animation for the show is going to go to waste because no one's heard of it, and for some reason they haven't localized it. But yeah, long story short, the show looks great. It has good humor. And I just think more people should check it out. I'm not sure, like, you can find the episodes online on YouTube, but I don't know if they're actually going to officially broadcast them soon. But yeah, I just think it's a nice cartoon. And yeah, that's it for me.
This episode.
Yes, that's all for now. We will get back to y'all in the future. We know we've been kind of trolly with Star Wars fans. We just wish for the best of y'all. Don't be toxic. If you're a Star Wars fan,
like I am, don't be toxic like that.
Well, I was gonna say like the haters of the sequel trilogy, but just remember love, peace, and all that. Don't overhype, and also don't overhate. Peace, love, and cookies. And always remember, Grogu sucks. Okay, bye.